Don't worry, I didn't cut my hair. I just have it pulled up in like the tiniest little of ponytails. What's up, Victoria? It's Victoria, and today I have a bunch of new stuff that I want to show you and try on for the first time. Some of it is stuff from the testing drawer, and I have tried a couple of times. Some of it is brand new. I did buy a couple of things for review because I didn't buy anything for review in February. I also like were most of the way through March. So I just kind of was like, let me buy some things. And I would say the trend of the things that I bought is like curiosities. This product, I really didn't give the time of day because it pilled on me. It's the Revlon Illuminance Revlon Illuminance, what does it say? Revlon Illuminance, and it's like an SPF primer. And previously when I talked about this, I was incorrect when I said it was a mineral sunscreen. It seems to be a mix of both. I knew that, but I didn't say that, and I also didn't catch it in the edit, so I apologize for that. But some people corrected me in the comments, and thank you for doing that. This pilled on me, and I don't normally have issues with pilling. Like, it's like not normally a thing. But the foundation that I was using on top of it, which was the Dior Stick foundation, which has not really worked out for me historically so far. Like, I'm really trying to make it work, and I can't seem to make it work. So I'm going to try this again today, just to give it a good, honest go. Because I remember liking like the finish of it, but it did kind of like mattify on my skin, but also left a glow. That's not always my thing. So it has SPF in it. So for it to like have like a set glow, I think is impressive, but obviously I'm not using this as my only SPF. If I'm using it as an SPF, it's just an additional SPF. It's not the only SPF I'm using. Kind of avoided my nose because I don't know. I'm not gonna put any additional primers on my nose. I'm not gonna use the Sisley Blur Expert. Here's how we're looking so far. I'm gonna give that a second to set because I'm trying another new complexion product. I'm trying a complexion product I've tried before, but also one I haven't, which is like part of the general curiosities. I should have eaten before I filmed, but I only have so much time in the day, and I'm trying something different with content. Imagine me, hautemesstom, trying something different with content. I haven't worn this shirt in a while. I'm feeling very, very C-word in it. Do I want to start with concealer? Concealer is new. Yeah, let's start with the concealer. I'm not sure if it's going to match. Hindash, our friend, my friend, your friend, everyone's friend, Hindash, kept recommending to me the Westman Atelier concealer. And this was like something that was always on my radar. Of course, Marco in the comments, he's always talking about Westman Atelier. I don't know that I really have heard him like have a takeaway with the concealer. I think he does prefer the stick foundation. I've always been like kind of curious about this, and it's been out for a while. So here's like my history of swatching this. When this got launched, I had bought the Victoria Beckham one because they were like launched around the same time, and I was like, if I'm gonna pick an expensive concealer, the Victoria Beckham feels more aligned with like where I'm at. Like, I just like Victoria Beckham products more than Westman Atelier. When I was in Palm Springs, this is how long ago, like I swatched it and all of the shades looked a little dark. Even the lightest one, the concealer range is a lot more condensed than the foundation range, which is like even not the best foundation range either, like as far as like depth goes, but they've done extensions on the shade ranges in the foundation. So maybe they will eventually do it with the concealers. But I also know that Hannah swatched these and was like, they're too dark. And if there was ever going to be a time where I was going to be like dark enough for the latest shade, it would probably be at the end of summer, which is when I was in Palm Springs and I had like a little bit of a tan going. Like I don't really tan that much. I wear a lot of SPF and I'm like mostly indoors. So like I'm at my darkest. That's going to be when it's going to like the beginning of fall is going to be whenever like I'm at my darkest. So I swatched it in a store. The Sephora lighting is really bad. If you ever get shade match, this is my recommendation for you as a former Sephora employee. If you're ever getting shade match at Sephora, let them apply some swatches to your like neck right here. Go in barefaced if you're doing a foundation match and you're like having someone help you, and then just have them blend them out. Remember which shade is which. Go outside, like let it sit on your skin for a while, walk through Sephora, and then step outside. Like if you're in a mall, get all the way outside to see what it looks like in natural light in your phone, or if you have a compact with you, and then pick that match. Whichever match is the best from that lighting is probably going to be your best. A Sephora in Pittsburgh eventually got Westman Atelier. I swatched them again. They all looked too dark. And then I was in the Sephora that I used to work at, which is the one in South Hills Village. They just got Westman Atelier, and I swatched it there, and I do think that this shade might work for me based on the lighting in there. And that was the lighting I used to shade match people in. So I think I'm more familiar with that lighting. That's just so strange. Like the lighting, the lighting situation in makeup stores is terrible. Even in Ulta, like all of them. I also recommend if you're like swatching things to go, you know how like the displays have the lights that go directly down on the product? I always swatch things on my arm and then put my hand under that light so I can more clearly see what the color looks like. Those are my recommendations as someone who's worked at Sephora. They're not foolproof, but they are helpful. Hindash was like, I think you would like it, and kind of like recommended it over and over again. He was like, I really want you to try it. So I bought it. Hindash, this one's for you. So I bought the shade Atelier L1, but I think in the foundation, the best shade for me is like 0.5 based on like my swatching of it. Anyway, I did swatch it on my neck in Sephora and it looked okay. So we'll give it a try. I'm going to try it under my eyes first. And then if it's too dark for the under eyes, we might just use it as like a foundation to make sure it all matches. Okay, let's get into it. So this is in glass packaging. This is like a glass component. It's weighty. That's one thing I like about Westman Atelier is like their packaging feels substantial. And I don't know if you guys saw this. Of course, it's going to be like a month and a half before I talk about it in Critical's house. But Westman Atelier is releasing like duos of bronzer and blush. We'll see how that goes. So here's what the applicator looks like. Very weighty, very cute. The only thing I don't love about this, their other products, minus the liquid products, are refillable. If they could figure out a way to make like their concealers refillable and their foundations refillable, because I don't think those are at this point, and their blushes, I think that would be really helpful. Well, their cream blush stick. Let's see. My understanding of this product is that it's like wants to set itself. So I think that'll be okay. I just applied a little bit. I don't normally apply a bunch of concealer under my eye. Okay, that's not the worst match. Let me zoom you in a little bit so you can see a little bit closer. Okay, so after first applying it, I'm like shaky. I'm like hungry. So if my hands warble and wobble in this video, just know that I should have eaten before this and that's what's going on. I also feel like I got nervous before filming today. Okay, so here's what it's looking like. It looks okay. It looks okay. I'm like not immediately like feeling any kind of way about it. I'm going to apply it to some more of my face so we can see what it looks like on some more texture, on some more redness, so we can get like a better idea of coverage. So I'm going to apply some like right here and a dot right here. With concealer these days, I really like to slowly build coverage if I'm going to build coverage because my under eyes don't take to a ton of product very well. Actually, that looks quite lovely, and I think it's actually a pretty good match. It is a concealer match. I do tend to like a little bit of brightening under my eye, not like a full shade, but like a little bit lighter. I think the undertone's really good. And actually, it's looking a little more luminous than I was expecting. Whenever they launched this product, I feel like I remember them saying it was kind of like a self-setting formula. And typically that means like matte. It does feel like it wants to be blended out immediately. So I don't think I would apply it to both eyes. I would like dot one eye, blend it out, and then dot the other eye. I know that some people, for better concealing purposes, like to let concealer sit. I do worry that this one would like start setting and be harder to blend. It's not like the most emollient formula I've ever worked with. It's actually kind of interesting because I always feel like Westman Atelier's branding like lends itself to like skin that would like more emollient product, like aging skin, dry skin. But I actually quite like the way that looks. Like actually really like that. It does kind of remind me a little bit of the formula from Victoria Beckham. I think I like it under my eye the least, which is like where I mostly use concealer. But like I've been finding like concealer as foundation kind of being my go-to. You know what I'm going to do? So I was going to use the Hourglass Skin Tint, which I've only used once so far on my channel. I'll save that. We'll come back to that. So I think I'm going to use this all over my face. So I'm going to apply some to my forehead and do some through my facial hair. And we'll just kind of see what it looks like as a foundation because I'm actually really loving the way it looks. It also might be pairing very well with this. And I'm not seeing any pilling, but I'm also not dragging. I'm tapping the concealer in. This might be a better product than I gave it credit for the first time I used it as well. So I'm going to just like slowly work this. Like I said, I do feel like it wants to like set relatively quickly. I woke up this morning and I chose violence against myself, which like that's my fault. That's my fault. It's not the product's fault. It's not the fact that I'm hungry's fault, but like I am feeling a little sensitive today. Do you see how it's not spreading very far? I feel like a lot of the products I've been using more recently in like the last couple of years, probably those 3 dots could have spread all the way to the temple, but it just like, I feel like it's like, you're really like putting this where you want it to be and blending it out a bit so it looks seamless, but you're not like blending it far, where I feel like a lot of like the foundations and stuff that I've been using recently, it's like I can put a little bit down and I can blend it all the way down. Like I feel like normally the little dot I put under my eye, I can blend it all the way down to here and up my cheek, but that like didn't want to do that. Like I had to add more. Okay, still really loving this. I don't know if the finish is more luminous because of the primer that we used today. You know, we'll see over time too. This is actually way more promising than I thought it was going to be. Like, I really didn't think I was going to like this product that much. Actually, I don't know that I really heard any reviews of this product either. I feel like Stephanie Beauty on Hype tried it and she didn't really like it. And like, I think that might have been the only person I saw talk about it. I'm sure Michelle Wong tried it, but I can't even like rack my brain to remember how she felt about it. But yeah, this is lovely. You know, maybe, okay, so here's what I'm learning. Whenever you start sharing makeup favorites with a friend, especially when it comes to complexion, you never know because everyone's skin type is so different and what they want from a complexion product is so different. But I think what I'm learning, based on the recommendation of the Décolleté concealer and this concealer, is that Hindash and I like the same qualities of a complexion product. So I'm not going to question him anymore when he recommends a complexion product to me. I mean, it feels weird to question the recommendation of any professional makeup artist whenever they're like, you need to try this. But also, you know, I've lived a long enough life in my makeup career to know that, like, even though you really align on a lot of like makeup things that you enjoy, to still be skeptical of it. So it might be, let me zoom you out a little bit to like really get, yeah, I think it's maybe just like a little yellow. I would say, like, it's just like a little bit too yellow for me. So I feel like I would need like a little bit more of like a neutral undertone. So like, it works. I think it would work on the under eyes. I think there's like a lot of coverage to it, surprisingly. I don't feel like physically that I'm wearing a lot of makeup, but I feel like it looks like I'm wearing like a decent amount of makeup. Like, it's a full coverage concealer. I would say definitely more coverage from this than the Victoria Beckham. Actually, you know what it's kind of reminding me of so far, and also consider the primer that I'm wearing under it. It's almost as if I mixed Glow Lust with the Surratt Dewdrop concealer, which is like the foundation that I've been wearing a lot recently. It's actually kind of reminding me of that. I think the color is just like a hair off. If she ever expands the concealer range, I hope so she goes lighter and a little more neutral. But these luxury brands often tend to have like a lot of warmth in them. And that's like also like consumers seem to want that, especially consumers who like don't watch makeup content. A lot of people want, whenever they feel like their skin tone is like what they view as sickly, they like to have warmth to their foundation because they think it's like adding life. But I prefer like a more solid match. But I don't think it's bad. It's not the worst. Like, I don't think anyone would like come up to me and be like, that's really detectable. But let me give you this like a moment to look. So it's only on this side of my face. I'm going to apply the other half off camera and then we will be back and we can proceed. And on this side of my face, I'm going to like put it all on. I'm going to use a foundation brush to blend it out to see if I do have any of that problem where things start to set before I blend. I lied a little bit. I'm going to do the concealer brush under my eye, and then I will move on to a denser brush for the rest of my complexion. Blending out with the foundation brush, I feel like I got a little less coverage because like it's a little bit less focused, a blend out situation. So I'm just adding a little bit more concealer to make it hopefully like match the coverage I have on the other side. Okay, there it is all over my face. I didn't have the problem where it started setting and became hard to blend. There's just something about the formula when I like was blending it out bit by bit on this side of my face that it felt like it wanted to do that, but I didn't have any issues like that stamping, if you know what I'm talking about. Because I find that like, I don't know, I'm always like a little bit concerned about like self-setting products in that way. I'm going to use the Phytosurgeon Spectral Shine in Divine Daylight on my cheeks. And then we will put on blush, and then we're going to be doing powder for everything else. I added a little bit of Ritual Diffuse Intuition as contour, as well as Divine Daylight, so that's where we are. Yeah, I'm really liking this concealer. I don't know if on my skin it's gonna like have the self-setting qualities, but it has like a beautiful glow to it, which like was really unexpected for me. I have been like dying to tell you about these blushes because I have been absolutely loving them in my free time when I've been playing with makeup. I got a bunch of these blushes from Glaminatrix. They were kind enough to send me a very generous PR package, which I mentioned. I just feel like I haven't like shown a lot of it on camera. These are their liquid blushes. I think they're, what are they actually called? The Cheek and Lip Flush. I haven't really tried using it on my lips yet, but they sent me actually a bunch of pinks. I think they also did like an extension of this. Or maybe I have the extension. I haven't quite figured that out. Anyway, very kind of them to send me this PR. These are so pretty and easy to work with, and I've been really loving the pink blush, guys. I've been really loving pink blush. I'm not really sure where we're going with the eye look today. We could go a little more complicated, a little less complicated, but I chose the shade Nurture because I don't know. I don't know if I've worn this one on my skin yet, but I have been really enjoying them. And I also have been using like a particular brush for them, which is also funny. It's the Sephora Collection 99 brush. I think the brush shapes are different, but they still make this shape of this brush. Basically what I've been doing, I mean, it's very simple. And it's very agreeable as I just put like one dot on at first and I start blending it and it goes pretty far and it has a nice pigmentation and I haven't had any issues with patchiness, but it's so pretty. So you can do that much or you can like add a little bit more. I do think that starting with one dot as opposed to like drawing a line with it has been helpful in my application. There have been a couple of times where I've gone a little bit overboard, especially it kind of seems like color dependent. There's like a red shade that they sent me. It's actually the shade, I didn't detail what I was wearing in my last Critical Sass because I feel like you weren't really close enough to my face to see what was going on with my face in Critical Sass, but that was the blush. I was wearing this red blush. And when I started putting that on, I certainly started a little bit too hot and heavy. And then had to like kind of use some foundation to like bring it back. But look at that. So pretty, so skin-like. I feel like I've been a little more oily recently because it's starting to get, well, it's been warmer. Who knows if it's going to stay warm? Like this is really early for it to be this warm in Pittsburgh. And sometimes we get like false spring. So I don't know if we're like in fall spring and it's going to get colder again, but it has been like warmer. So my allergies have been rising. My oils have been producing oils more. Yeah. So it seems like a natural finish to me. It's one of those formulas that I feel like whatever you're doing with the rest of your face, it can adapt to that. So if you want it to be matte, if you like set it a little bit, it's going to be matte. If you have glowy products underneath, I think it's going to have more of a glow. And I feel like the concealer we used today was pretty glowy in conjunction, at least in conjunction with this primer that I have on my face. So I feel like it is giving off a glow, but I don't feel like it's inherently glowy. Like I think it's really adaptable. But yeah, I also just have been feeling so pretty in pink recently. I talked about this in the After Sass where I've just been like, loving color and like in a more subdued way than I feel like I used to love color, like, but I have been enjoying bringing it back in to the makeup. Look at that. Just look at it. I also feel like, and I do love a corpsey look. I think this is like well documented on my channel. I think maybe like just having some life to my skin and for the first time in a while, I'm like, oh my God, I can look human. So as far as longevity goes with this product, I haven't really tested the longevity of it quite yet. I've said this before on my channel and just like, you know, whenever I'm discussing this kind of thing, normally I don't really care how long something lasts. So we'll pay attention to that whenever we're like wrapping it up at the end. I will, you know, kind of like hone in on that and be like, did it set? Did it go away? Did it like, is it still on my face? I think it still will be on my face, but you know, I just want to say that. All right. So I'm about to set my face and actually, the Westman Atelier concealer is really good under my eyes. It like didn't set in there. It actually is reminding me a lot of the Victoria Beckham in its performance, which is, this is still like an expensive concealer, but it's less expensive than the Victoria Beckham concealer. So that is promising. I'm going to do setting powder, but I'm going to come back for finishing powder because this is one of those products I bought like a curiosity. So I'm going to be using the Hourglass Vanish Pressed Powder, and I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Under Eye Setting Powder, Brightening Powder. The concealer is taking really well to the under eye powder. Looks great. Okay, after powdering, I feel like my pores look really good. Like the concealer took to it really well, and I liked it as a foundation product. I feel like we're still having some glow. I'm very impressed so far. And not that I thought that this Westman Atelier concealer was going to be a bust. I just like didn't think I was going to like it as much as I feel like I'm enjoying it so far. Okay, so for finishing powder. Okay, hold on, let me take a drink. There is like a little bit of like a backstory, not like very detailed, but this brand, I haven't purchased something from this brand since I started doing makeup, and that's how long it's been. And this brand has been through many a controversy, and I think they're rebranding and trying something new. And also the influencers are all talking about it again. That's not why I was interested in this, but I saw this product get launched. I saw it on one of the new makeup release accounts, and I was like, who is that? And I clicked on it, I was really surprised by the brand. Morphe. So I bought this. I saw this in Ulta. Well, I also saw it online, but then I also saw it in Ulta and I like interacted with it a bit. So this is the Morphe Cloudlight Soft Glow Veil. And when I saw this on I don't remember which account, but like whenever I saw this as a release, it immediately made me think of the Hourglass ambient lighting powders. So historically, I really like the Hourglass ambient lighting powders, but they're a little, I don't know, like something about my skin type in them, like about after a couple of hours, my makeup looks more like a mask than like ambient lighting, but they're really pretty. I think they're a really good product. I just think like my skin tone, like I can't make them work for my skin tone. And so this kind of felt, and like no one has explicitly said this, and I don't think it looks like it's meant to be a dupe of that, but it's a similar idea, it seems to me. I don't know if they're like touting this as a setting powder or a highlighter. So when I swatched in store, it wasn't really like giving highlight to me. So set skin in its most flattering light as if illuminated by a softly blurred cloud diffused glow. The sheer weightless multi-toned powder featuring light reflecting technology infused with squalene shea butter and hyaluronic acid sweeps on to finish your look with natural radiance. So I'm wondering if like people with dry skin might also end up liking this. Here's the packaging. It's like this big lucite compact, and it is actually quite large. You get 8 grams of product, so I would say that's like about a normal amount of like pressed powder. I like this. Like I'm liking interacting with it. It's like pretty simple branding. The Morphe is like kind of like posted on there. I don't know if you can see the actual Morphe, but the shading, you can see the shadow of it. This is the product looks like. Mine's a little tilted. As far as like the accessibility of this packaging goes, it's like this acrylic thing and it's not magnetic, so you'll have to put something in there. I'm able to open it by force, but not like a ton. So you might be able to get away with it, but there isn't like a lot to grip onto. The Westman Atelier concealer was like heavy but small and very smooth. So you might need something for traction if you have dexterity issues. Sorry, I didn't like talk about that in that product. So it looks more like a setting powder. Can you see what I'm saying? Like there is like a tint to it. I think if you want a very soft highlighter, I think it could work as a very soft highlighter. But to me, it's like a powder with a slight glow and like some blurring properties. And you know, I love that. I normally, when I'm using a finishing powder, I like to buff it into my skin. So I'm going to try that first. And then I will use a regular powder brush to do the other side so we can see if there's any difference. We'll start with one side, check in, we'll do the other side. So this is the brush I usually use for finishing powder. It's the Smooth Buffer brush from Sonia G. Sonia G meet Morphe. So I'm just going to pick up a little. Okay, I think I picked up too much. I'm going to pick off some. And I'm going to press it into my skin. My other thought when I was picking this up, that I thought it could be maybe like the powder version of Spectral Shine, which I view as like more like a finishing kind of product. I definitely feel like it had coverage to it, which I wasn't really expecting as much coverage, but it comes in different shades. Obviously, this isn't the only shade of this. I say obviously, but like there are, I think, 3 shades. So with the amount of coverage I just got, I feel like they might need to have more shades than that. I'm going to zoom you in so you can see what happened. So look at how blurred the under portion of my eye. This is like something that I love finishing powder for. It's just like if my under eye is looking a little bit like puffy or something, a blurring powder normally tends to figure that out. And a lot of people have different solutions for that. I'm looking at myself in the monitor to make sure that like what I'm saying to you is actually like true in the monitor too. But yeah, I think that my under eye looks a lot better on this side. Obviously, different angles are going to give you something different, but I just feel like I don't feel like I look tired or feel tired or my skin looks tired. Just like it definitely like improved a thing that like just made my skin look better. Also, you can tell on the forehead just like how much it blurred the side of my face. I'm not getting a lot of glow. It's actually reminding me a lot of the Chantecaille powder, but maybe a better shade because the Chantecaille powder does like, I think, leave a little bit of a cast. Also, you can tell on my cheek, like from cheek, like you can see my pores here. They're a little less obvious here. Was it $16? It was like around $15 versus Chantecaille, which is $80 or $80. I don't know. I think their prices keep going up. So I don't know. If you've been interested in a finishing powder, but like didn't want to spend Chantecaille prices, or that's just not in your budget. So far, obviously this is the very first impressions. I took it out of the packaging. I'm quite loving this, and I did like it with the buffing brush to kind of like push things into my skin. I'm going to use a setting brush for the other half of my face. I'll be using the brush that I usually use. This is like Surratt's powder brush. It's very expensive. Surratt meet Morphe. I think that the buffing brush made the color of the powder more apparent because it was like kind of applying more of it. But I do feel like this is a little more blurred. I think it definitely did do some blurring, but I think like using my under eyes is a good example. Also, the way my under eyes behave is not going to be even on both sides in general, but like you can still see like the sallowness of it, like how it's like kind of puffy. And yeah, I don't like, this is not something I normally concern myself with trying to fix, but like it's just like a good point of like just showing to you. I like wasn't expecting saying about a Morphe product in 2025, like literally almost 10 years after I got into makeup, for me to like go back to a Morphe product and be like, this is actually pretty slay. I don't remember ever really like loving Morphe. The quality of their eyeshadows I found hard to work with. Do you see how after that it's just like even less noticeable? I'm like, do I need like an under eye caffeine situation to happen here? Wow, I'm very pleased so far. Everything's going very well. Everything's going very well. I wanted to dig into this a little bit more. So I was correct, but not about this product. They're repackaging this. So I'm wondering if there are going to be single compacts or like, I don't know, but this is going to come out in different packaging. So the product's not going away forever, but I think that's why it was very discounted when I bought it. So I'm just going to use the lighter shade in here. When I talked about this initially, I was like pretty dismissive of it, but some people in my comment section were like, no, I actually really like that product. Maybe give it another chance. I don't really like split pan products for like face products, but just using the lighter shade. I'm at the point of my makeup where I'm starting to really feel it. I also just like am very pleased about that Morphe powder. But now I feel like kind of like left with a Sophie's Choice. If I end up really liking that, well, I'll probably still use the Chantecaille one. You know what? I'll probably just add it. I'll probably just add it. Maybe I'll use it as like under eye. We'll see. You'll see. It doesn't really matter. You know, I have it for now. I don't need to keep it if I don't want to. I feel like adding the bronzer kind of made the concealer feel like a little more one with my skin, just like adding a little bit of warmth. I found helpful. I still feel like the concealer as a foundation is looking like a lot more coverage than I've been, you know, one to like, but I don't know. I think my makeup looks fab. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. I also now haven't really tried this highlighter as like its own thing. So I do want to try that today. It's just such a small area to get a brush in, which I don't love, but that's pretty. Wait, hold on. Maybe a little bit chalky. A little bit chalky looking. It's like clinging a little bit on this cheek. Well, that's like a couple of different things. It's such a small place to get in a highlight brush, and I tend to like my highlight really diffused, and I feel like based on the kind of brush I can fit into there to get on my cheek, I have to use a more pinpoint highlight brush, which is just not my preference. But I think it is pretty. But maybe the highlight will also come separately, or maybe it'll be like a bronzer highlight duo as opposed to like a trio. I don't know. Very curious. Also, the concealer took really well to my nose, which I didn't point out earlier, but I meant to. Okay, so next let's do eyes, and I think I'm going to keep it simple. I was thinking about doing this, but then I also realized it's really St. Patrick's Day just happened or is about to happen, and then I was like, I don't really want to do like a Luck of the Irish situation, but I will still use a little bit of green. I wanted to actually revisit the Trixie eyeshadow. It's the Glimmer topper in the shade Apres She. I'm just going to add a little bit to my eyes, and I want like a very sheer wash of this. So I'm going to take a very fluffy brush. I'm not going to really be able to show you. Hopefully, I'll try to turn my face away. Hold on. Maybe if I do this, will it focus on it? I'm going to take a very fluffy brush like this one right here. And I'm going to pick up some product from the applicator. And then that's what I'm going to apply to my eye. And that's what we're working with. And that's all I really wanted. So great, because I do have a pop of color that we will be adding, not to the top of the eye, but to the under eye. I applied such a sheer layer of this, but I still think it deserves a sparkle cam. What do you think? It gives me like that wet look without really much of a base. And there might be a little bit of a base, but it's not like Space Cowboy where I get actually a lot of base whenever I use that. I'm gonna blur us a little bit. I'm still learning with the blur, which way the blur gives more sparkle. Okay, so here's another curiosity I found whenever I was going through Ulta. And when I was like meandering through Ulta, I was really trying to make a very distinct effort to kind of stay in like the cheaper drugstore area. And I went to About Face, which is a brand I have like not like a sorted history, just like it's kind of been more misses than hits for me when I've tried things. Kind of, if you've been watching Hannah Louise Poston, we're kind of like really aesthetically in this place where like we both really want to bring color back into the fold, but like have like one standout color. I think I'm more open to color than like what Hannah's willing to try, but like this is kind of my vision. I asked about neon liners and I did check out, someone recommended the LA Girl ones. All of the LA Girl ones were sold out at my Ulta and I didn't think to ask, but this is the About Face eyeliner in the shade Electric Slide. And so I'm just going to do it on like the inner corner of my eye there. That's all I wanted. Something very simple to do something like that with. Not really even in the inner corner, just kind of like the lower inner corner. And I think it's very chic. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I would like something brighter than this. If anyone has like a gel crayon recommendation, like that would be like more bright. Because I feel like once I zoom you out, they're not really going to be able to see that. It's kind of like a for in real life or when you're up close situation. So let me know down below. And, you know, I'm actually feeling really okay not putting mascara on for this look. I think it's very chic without it. I know that's like a thing that was relatively trendy recently, was like not wear mascara. And that's not really why I'm doing it. I just think like feeling very demure, very mindful. So I'm going to zoom you back out and we have some beautiful lip products to talk about. Merit is launching lip liners and also some new of their, what are these called? The lip, I think they're called like the lip gelées. Oh, tinted lip oil, but now they have shiny ones. So here are the lip liners. And then here are the two. So they sent me half of the range. So I have like 4 of the lip liners and then 2 of the lip oils. I did get to choose the shades. It's very nice. So here's what they look like. Okay, so I kind of think the gold is cute. It makes everything on the packaging impossible to read. And there is a shade that I really love in this. It's the shade Capricorn. It's like my new favorite lip color. I've been wearing it all the time since I got them. I don't know when these launch or if these have like already launched by the time I'm posting this. They have announced them, so it's okay to talk about them. I'm an idiot. I never looked at the bottom. Anyway, so they did launch a lip liner in one of their like holiday collections a couple years ago, and it just kind of like never came to fruition. I don't know, and now they're out, and a lot of people wanted to bring it back. So I actually didn't get the shade Bespoke, which is the shade that originally launched, and unfortunately these are twist up liners. So I will swatch them for you, and I'll tell you which one's which. Capricorn, Sportif, Coupe, and Mayfair. That's what they look like. You're not going to be able to tell like in my hairy hand that these are more of a glossy finish. They're interesting. They remind me a lot of the Signature lips. They have like a similar finish to that. And you may be wondering like, do they leave a stain after like the gloss finishes? And they do, but they don't really like set. They're a little bit weird. I think that this is like something that's going to be like very some people's speed and very not other people's speed. If you like your lip liner to like last all day, I don't know that that's going to be what they do. They last a pretty long time, but like if you're looking for like all day wear, I'm not sure that these are going to be for you. Like it just like, it feels like a very specific clientele for these. They're also just like really emollient. Like they glide too much almost, it feels like to me. I think I'm one of the people who likes a creamier lip liner as opposed to something a little more dry, but like this is like creamier than I would even think I would want. It feels like it makes it hard to be precise. I haven't tried the Rhode lip liners, but I guess that's kind of like the trend. And I think a buffed out lip line is really pretty. Like, I think it's really cool. I don't know. I don't know. It's like, it's a very weird take on a lip liner that I think some people will really enjoy and I think some people will really hate. So I might do like a short lip swatching all of these. I'm not going to do that in this video. I just really want to put on Capricorn because it's my favorite. Like, it's so pretty. Some of the like line up with some of the blushes. Like Bespoke is both a blush and Is there like a signature lip formula of it? There might be. I'm actually not like 100% sure. I think that they will all go with some of the other products from Merit if they don't have like a direct comparison product for it. So I'm going to zoom you in. I don't normally like zooming in on my lips because normally they're in like a tough state, like kind of like 90% of the time. Okay, I'm just going to zoom through this. So that's it on and buffed out, but because I buffed it out, the finish of it, like the glossy finish, has kind of gone away. So I'm gonna apply it all over my lips so you can see it. So that's it all over the lips. Can you see how it has like a glossy finish? If you are listening, Merit, if you can release Capricorn on the signature lip, I would love that. And then the new tinted lip oils that they released have a little bit of a shimmer to them. I've never been super impressed with this formula from them, but if I'm being very honest, like it's just like fine. And I find that the ones that have like a lot of pigment in them tend to like travel a bit and like they don't really stay and like the pigment does weird stuff. But I'm gonna apply this one for you. It's the shade Tabby. That's what the applicator looks like. I'm just going to put it on top of Capricorn. I have been liking this combo. It's already doing it. So, of course, I put down lip liner, but I covered my whole lip in the lip liner. And immediately the pigment goes to the perimeter of my lips, which I don't love. And it's not the lip liner because I had a dark brown shade, whatever the dark brown shade of the original formula is. I had that and it did the same thing. So that's it after I've like kind of fixed the problem. I don't really see like the shimmer in it. I don't know if you can see the shimmer in the component. But, you know, Merit, I don't know. They're not going to go full like glitter. It's literally just as shiny as it would have been without the shimmer particles. So I don't know what this is really adding to the line, if I'm being honest. This one you can kind of tell a little bit more because I do feel like there's like a little bit of like a purple sparkle. But whenever I like swatched it, I really couldn't see that in the swatch either. And this is the shade Twin Set. But I like the way my lip looks. I don't know. I'm not in love. I've never been in love with the lip oils from Merit. They're like fine. They're fine. So I kept those swatches on so we could kind of like come back to them on my hand. I already smudged this one, but I figured we could just run my finger through. Yeah, so there's like that top emollient layer, but you can see that it also stains, but it's like a very light stain. So if that's the kind of thing you're into, which I think I am, I don't think that this is like going to be the perfect lip liners for everyone. This is like a thing that I think you need to go swatch in person once they're in Sephora. Get a better understanding on how it might work for you. I've been liking them, but I think of them more as like a lipstick all over kind of product than like a lip liner. I think they're a really beautiful diffused lip liner if you want into that sort of thing. I've been liking this lip combo with the lip liner, but I've also been liking the lip liner with other lip products I have. So yeah, I don't know. I like these, but like, I think this is really specific. I wouldn't blind buy these, I guess. I think this is something that would require interacting with unless you like don't live near a Sephora. That's my opinion. I really like the way my skin looks. I do think I'm going to add like a little bit of a spray. So I'm going to finish with a little bit of Fix Plus. Let's actually run through this. Okay, I'm going to keep playing with this. I do maybe feel now that it was the foundation, but like that foundation didn't pill on anything else. So there might be like a fine line of like what will pill with that foundation, what won't. But I didn't have any pilling issues with this today. I also think whenever it was pilling on my face with the foundation, I was applying it with my fingers and I applied with a brush today, which I find usually doesn't account for pilling. Like I don't normally get pilling issues. So I still like this. I don't know if it will ever be my favorite primer, but like I will keep playing with it. The concealer from Westman Atelier. It was really good. It was really very good. Very, 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 very good. I'm interested to keep putting it through its paces, but I think as an all-over complexion product, it's really lovely. I think as an under eye product, it's still looking really good under my eyes. Like I think it looks really good. I'll zoom you in. So you can make an honest person of me. But like, yeah, it's not really like getting into the fold under there. So I quite like that. This is really lovely. So yeah, I don't know. If you watched reviews or you own it, let me know what you think of the Westman Atelier concealer or what you've heard about it, because I feel like I really didn't hear much after it was released. But very into this. I think I did a pretty good job grabbing some curiosities. There's still a couple of things that I don't have yet that I bought, but the store didn't have them in stock, so I haven't having them shipped to me. But that wasn't really a curiosity thing. It was I finally got to see the MAC lipsticks in real life, and I bought a couple of them for us to talk about. So keep your eyes peeled for those lipsticks. But yeah, the concealer I'm loving so far. Not a perfect match. It's not like my favorite, I think, at this time, but I think it could be a favorite. The Glaminatrix blush, very pretty. I do think it calmed down a little bit, but it's not completely gone. I don't think it will completely go away. I can also feel comfortable putting this on top of the powder too, to bring it back if I wanted to, but I like where it's sitting. It looks very natural, very fleshy on the skin. If I had to pick a favorite of the video, of the newer things to me, I think this is it. This is a find. I'm gooped and gagged. I don't think that now that I've tried this and this worked out really well for me that I'm going to be like a Morphe girl, like a Morphe babe. Hashtag Morphe babe. Use code hautemesstom for 10% off at checkout. Like, I don't think that's going to happen to me. I will keep my eyes peeled if Morphe releases more things that I find intriguing. Morphe has been so eyeshadow focused, I think, for most of its career. At least that's like how it's been to me. I know they've released like other products like with Morphe 2 and etc. But this is like really aligned with the way I like to do my makeup. And I think they really knocked it out of the park. I think it's gorgeous. I hope to see them release more colors in this because I did feel like I did get a little more coverage from this than I was expecting to. But that was with me buffing it. I think most people probably would just use a regular powder brush unlike what I did. But yeah, I would love to see more shades in this. This is really lovely. Very lovely. I'm excited to play with this again as well. Bronzer from Trixie. I do think this is a nice powder bronzer. So I'm curious to see what the iteration is going to be with the next release. Like, I'm very curious about that. Yeah, and I think the highlighter looks pretty now that I've sprayed my face. It looks a little more set in. It's like a little bit more highlightery than I'm very into at this point, but I still think it's really pretty. Okay, then moving on from that, I like this product a lot. This liquid eyeshadow. I like applying it the way I showed you today. I don't really like to like swipe it on my eye. That's not really how I like to use liquid shadow, but I love this look with it. And I also really enjoyed the About Face eyeliner. I will say it took a little bit of like rubbing back and forth for the pigment to start showing up, but once it did, I think it looks lovely. I think it's giving me exactly the effect I want. I would love something a little bit brighter than this, but I think that's going to be hard to find unless I'm going to do a liquid or a water activated liner, which I like really don't want to do, but we'll see if we can find something like that along the way. And then the lip products. I really like the lip liners from Merit, these new lip liners from Merit. I think they also did some gorgeous colors. If there's one thing that Merit I think consistently does, maybe besides the bronzers, I think they're really good at color with their like blushes and their lip colors. So I think they always are releasing good colors, especially Capricorn. But I do think these are really specific. I still recommend you interacting with these before purchasing them. And then the tinted lip oils, these have never really done it for me from Merit, but I think it's pretty once it like settles. But like, I think when you first apply it and like all of the pigment goes to the outer portion of the lips, I think that's not great. So maybe if you were interested in that, the clear one would be the best one. But like, honestly, that's like it's just like never really been my thing. And that is going to wrap up the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you happen to be new to my channel, I do like to talk about new products, sometimes new to me products like we talked about in this video, but most of what my channel is focused on is loving my makeup collection as it currently is and being critical and maybe a little bit cynical of new makeup releases. If you want to see a real good version of that, I just did a video in my series Critical Sass where I talk about new makeup releases. You can kind of get a vibe over there. So I would love for you to hit the subscribe button down below. I'm on Patreon and I have channel memberships. You can find those linked down below. I do one additional video over there every single month. And it's just kind of like pay what you want if you want. If you don't want to, no worries. I'm just so happy that you are here. I will have some links to some good organizations down in the pinned comment down below to help people in Gaza, people affected by the LA wildfires, to help trans people in Pittsburgh. There's also a link to 5 Calls, which is an organization that puts scripts together so you can call your representatives and feel very confident in what you're asking them to do. So check out any or all of those. And that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to follow your hope. You'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Tits out.